What allows a conductor to be a conductor, to stand on the podium in front of so many good musicians who studied a lot, like the conductor did himself? What allows him to stay there and to decide and to take decisions for all of them? Well, first of all, he or she, of course, must have an idea, a very precise idea of what the music, the piece, should sound like. He has to imagine that sing, and having so clear in his mind, so to enable him to look for that specific image that he has in his mind through the instruments of the orchestra. And of course, how can he possibly get that very precise image? Studying a lot the score, knowing as much as he can about the score, about every inch of the score, about every instrument in the score, and I would say knowing more than the composer did. But this is not so strange, because if you think, the composer had the creativity of his own, and of course he expressed some feelings, ideas, thoughts, emotions, and his life in the music that he wrote. But the conductor has nothing to do with those things. The conductor has only the page, and he must read, and he must get as much as he can out of those signs. So he must know almost, let's say, almost everything. So to have this image in his head and try to achieve, try to reproduce that idea of the sound through the orchestra. So of course he can ask the various players to play like this or like that, more like this, less like that, and of course he can do that only if he has a very precise image, again, of the piece and of the sound that it should come out of the orchestra. And this idea should be somehow free of the limitations that every instrument has. Having just the, just the melody in itself, like when we are talking about the music of Bach, we are talking about absolute music, because it is not specifically referred to an instrument. You can play Bach with every instrument in the world and it works. So somehow the conductor should have an idea of that kind of the music that he wants to get, and then when it comes down to the orchestra, then he has to adjust the situations because of the limitations of the instruments. And so trying to get the best out of every instrument to achieve that idea. So that's the big part of the work of the conductor, and it's a very hard part, of course. But another very important thing that allows a conductor to be on stage, to be on the podium, in my opinion, is the psychological part of that work, of the job. Because, okay, let's say that a certain, generation of great names and great conductors, I would name Toscanini, for instance. Of course, those were different times, and Toscanini was Toscanini, okay, and we are different. I am myself, and I'm not Toscanini, and no one else is Toscanini. So Toscanini had that kind of, you know, strong character, and he would, you know, scream, yell at the orchestra. Again, different times, and also we had to consider many things. We have to consider also that for instance, the orchestra of Toscanini was built by him in the United States. The BBC orchestra was just his own creature. So, okay, but just let this thing aside. If you think of the conductor today, you have to be very careful about the players, in the sense that, not in the sense that you should, you know, step back from your ideas and your positions and, you know, oh, if you want to play like that, it's okay, I don't want to insist. No, no, no. If you are the conductor, you must have your own idea, as I said before, and you have to go for it until the very limit of the person and of the instrument. You have to get what you want. Otherwise, you are not a conductor. You're simply beating the tempo. It's not conducting at all. But when you ask for something, it depends on how you ask for it. I said already in other videos that when you ask for something and you give the reason why you want that, just with few words, okay? Not a conference, but just few words. I want this because of that. You enable the player not simply to do something mechanically. Okay, I do this because he asked me, but I don't see why. You allow the player to say, aha, he's thinking about this relation. Can be right, can be wrong, I can agree or not, it doesn't matter, but I know why, and I can play, you know, in a very different way, much more confident. And again, when I ask for something, I have to gratify the player. I mean, I'm asking for, okay, do it again, because it's not as I want it to be. I want more of that, okay? So do it once again, and he does. Yeah, okay, now that's better, but please try once more with a little more of that and a little less of this. So he tries once again. Now it's almost done, it's almost perfect. Thank you, just once more, thinking about that and thinking about that. So once more and once more. You can ask, you know, many repetitions, but if you ask for it like this, you encourage the player to do his best and to give his maximum, because you gratify and say, that's right, good, you're getting better, thank you, and so on. So it's very important to understand that the player gets frustrated if you just simply ask for it, but no, it's not like that, do it once again. No, okay, and in the end, you go like, oh, okay, thank you, let's go ahead, right? So the player's like, oh, did he like me? Or maybe not. Well, I don't know what to do. I get frustrated. So it's very important to understand that every player is a human being after all. It's not a machine, it's not a computer. And he needs some support in order to give his best. And this is a very important side of the conductor's job. Not simply, having the idea and asking for it, and this is very important and you cannot miss this. To be a conductor, you have to, follow your idea. But it's very important the way you follow it. Stand for it. Don't give up. Don't give up, but take care of the satisfaction of the players.